AITA for refusing to take my sister's kids after she passed away because I don't want to ruin my own daughter's life. I, 35F, have one daughter, Emily, 14. Her dad and I divorced when she was 6, and she lives with me full-time. I work as a nurse and have built a stable, quiet life for us. We're not rich, but I've worked hard to make sure she has what she needs and can focus on school and her dream of becoming a vet. My older sister, Megan, 38F, was always kind of the wild one. She had 3 kids, Oliver, 10, Sophie, 8, and Leo, 5. Their dad isn't in the picture. He left years ago and pays almost no child support. Megan struggled a lot, financially and emotionally, but she loved her kids deeply. I helped when I could, sending money, buying school supplies, or babysitting once in a while. 3 months ago, Megan was in a car accident. She didn't make it. It was a complete shock to everyone. Our parents are in their late 60s, not in great health, and live 2 states away. When the question of custody came up, everyone looked to me. I love my nieces and nephew, but I panicked. I live in a small 2-bedroom apartment. Emily has her own room, and there's no way to comfortably fit 3 more kids. My work schedule is demanding. I do 3 12-hour shifts a week, and while that gives me some days off, it's unpredictable. I don't have the savings or energy to suddenly become a single parent to 4 children. I told my parents I couldn't do it. I thought maybe they could help find another relative or foster family who could keep the kids together. They were horrified. My mom said, "They're your sister's babies. She wants you to take them." My dad called me cold-hearted and said Emily would manage. Emily overheard parts of that conversation and later told me she didn't want me to say yes. She cried, saying she didn't want to move, share her room, or suddenly be surrounded by little kids who'd need constant attention. She said, "It's not fair, Mom. I'd lose you too." That broke me, because she's right. I already miss my sister every day, but I can't lose the life I've built for Emily. I feel guilty even thinking that because those kids have no one else. Eventually, Child Protective Services got involved. They placed the kids with a foster family temporarily. I've visited them a few times, brought clothes and toys, and tried to stay in touch, but the foster mom told me it's confusing for them. They ask why they can't live with Auntie Liz. Last week, my parents called again, furious. They said they'd spoken to a lawyer and could maybe get partial custody, but their health makes that unrealistic. They accused me of abandoning my family. My mom actually said, "You're letting strangers raise your sister's children." Then Emily's dad called me out of the blue. Apparently, my parents told him about the situation. He said he thought I was being selfish and that if I had room in my heart for my own child, I should have room for my sister's. I hung up on him, but it's been eating at me. I've done the math over and over. Even if I moved to a bigger apartment, I couldn't afford it. Even if I changed jobs to something with fewer hours, I make less money. Even if I could somehow stretch myself thin enough to care for 4 kids, I know Emily would resent me. She's my child. I owe her a stable life. 2 weeks ago, I attended a family meeting organized by CPS. The social worker mentioned that the kids' foster family might be open to adopting them if no relatives step up. My parents were in tears, saying Megan would never forgive me. I cried too. I still cry every night about it. After the meeting, Emily hugged me and said, "You did the right thing, Mom." But when I told my parents that, my mom said, "You're teaching your daughter to be heartless." I don't think I'm heartless. I think I'm realistic. I can't be everything to everyone. I can visit them, help financially, maybe even host them during holidays, but I can't raise them full-time. A few days ago, I got a message from Sophie's foster mom. She sent a picture of the 3 kids playing in the backyard and said they're adjusting well. I felt relief, but also guilt, like I'd given away part of my sister. My best friend thinks I made the right choice, but she admitted she'd probably never forgive herself in my shoes. Another friend said she'd take the kids no matter what. So now I'm stuck replaying every choice I've made. Last night, Emily said something that really hit me. She said, "If Aunt Megan were alive, would she want you to ruin our lives trying to save hers?" I didn't know how to answer that. Now I can't stop thinking, maybe I failed both my sister and her kids. Maybe love should have been enough. But then I look at Emily, doing her homework at the kitchen table, smiling, talking about her science project. And I think if I'd said yes, she wouldn't have that peace. And isn't it my job to protect her peace? Everyone in my family still sees me as the villain. Even my cousins, who haven't spoken to me in years, have started messaging me, saying things like, "You should have stepped up." My parents told me they've decided not to spend Christmas with us this year because it wouldn't feel right. So now, it's just me and Emily trying to move forward. I've arranged to keep sending money for the kids' needs and plan to visit once a month. But deep down, I wonder if I'll always be the aunt who didn't take them. AITA for refusing to take in my sister's kids because I didn't want to sacrifice my daughter's stability and our entire life. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, when do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. AITA for refusing to give my sister the wedding dress I bought after she got engaged before me. So I, 28F, have an older sister, Melissa, 30F. We've always had a complicated relationship, close enough to talk regularly, but she's always had this quiet competitiveness about her. Growing up, she had to be the best at everything: grades, sports, relationships, appearances, you name it. I used to laugh it off because she's my sister and family is family, right? Anyway, about 3 years ago, I got engaged to my boyfriend of 5 years, Ethan, 29M. We'd been together since college, and the proposal was perfect. I started planning the wedding immediately because, honestly, I'd been dreaming about it forever. I had a vision in my head: simple but elegant outdoor ceremony, lots of greenery, blush tones. The one thing I wanted to splurge on was the dress. After months of searching, I found the dress. It was this gorgeous, floor-length satin gown with a square neckline and delicate pearl detailing on the sleeves. It was expensive, $3,200, but my grandmother had left me some money when she passed, and she'd always said she wanted to contribute to my wedding. So I used part of that inheritance to buy it. I cried when I tried it on. It just felt meant to be. Then life happened. Ethan and I had to postpone the wedding twice. Once because of a family illness, and again when his company relocated him temporarily. We decided to wait until things stabilized before setting a new date. The dress stayed safely stored at my mom's house in a garment bag. Fast forward to last year. Melissa got engaged to her boyfriend, Ryan, 32M, after less than a year of dating. I was genuinely happy for her, though I'll admit I felt a little weird since Ethan and I were still engaged but not yet married. Melissa immediately jumped into planning mode, which was very on-brand for her. A few months into her planning, she came over to my mom's house for Sunday dinner. She went upstairs to grab something from storage, and I later found out she'd seen my dress hanging in the closet. The next day, she called me and said, "Hey, I saw your dress at Mom's. It's stunning. You're not even using it yet. So, could I maybe wear it for my wedding?" At first, I thought she was joking. I laughed and said, "No, that's my wedding dress." But she didn't laugh. She said she was serious, that she and Ryan were on a tight budget, that the dress was just sitting there, and that I could always get a new one later when I actually set a date. I told her absolutely not, and she got quiet before saying, "You're really going to be selfish about a piece of fabric?" It turned into a whole argument. She said I was being wasteful, and that since I wasn't even married yet, I didn't need the dress right now. I told her the dress was bought with Grandma's inheritance, and that it was emotionally important to me. She hung up on me. The next week, my mom called saying Melissa had been crying, telling everyone I refused to help her during her time of need. My mom tried to mediate and suggested maybe I could let Melissa borrow it and then get it cleaned afterward. I said no again. Wedding dresses are deeply personal, and I didn't want mine altered, stained, or even associated with someone else's wedding. Then I got a text from Ryan, my sister's fiancé. He said something like, "I know you and Melissa have your differences, but this dress means a lot to her. You'll get yours someday. Don't ruin her big day over a piece of clothing." That one really pissed me off. I told him to never message me about it again. After that, Melissa stopped talking to me. She ended up finding another dress, though my mom later let slip that she cried at the fitting because it wasn't as good as mine. I thought things would settle, but at her engagement party, Melissa gave a toast where she said, "Not everyone in your life will support your happiness, but real love shines anyway." Everyone laughed awkwardly, and I wanted to disappear. Ethan told me I handled it fine, and that giving her the dress would have just been enabling her entitlement. My dad, who's usually quiet in these matters, said Melissa was way out of line. But my mom and a few extended relatives still think I could have been more generous. The worst part? Melissa's wedding photos came out a few months later, and she'd chosen a dress that looked strikingly similar to mine. Same neckline, same silhouette, even similar pearl sleeves. I can't prove it, but I'm 99% sure she told her designer to replicate it. I thought I was over it, but now Ethan and I have finally set a new date for next spring, and I brought my dress in for a fitting. When my mom saw me in it, she got this uncomfortable look and said, "You know, people might think you copied Melissa's style." I almost screamed. It was my dress first. Now part of me is worried that wearing it will reignite the drama. Ethan says I shouldn't care what anyone thinks, but my mom keeps hinting that it would be simpler to get a new one. That feels so unfair, though. Why should I give up something I bought years ago just because my sister wanted it first and tried to guilt-trip me into handing it over? Still, I can't lie. I feel a little guilty. It's been years, and Melissa still acts cold around me at family gatherings. She won't even let her kids, yes, she is 2 now, call me Annie, only my first name. I've tried to reach out and smooth things over, but she brings up the dress every time, saying it was a sign of how selfish I've always been. My mom recently told me that Melissa and Ryan are renewing their vows next year and that she's still hurt about how I treated her during her wedding planning. Mom said maybe I could apologize and offer to help with her event to mend things. But honestly, I feel like I was the one wronged. So, Reddit-style strangers of the internet, AITA for refusing to let my sister wear my wedding dress, and still planning to wear it myself even though she ended up copying it for her own wedding. AITA for telling my sister she can't name her baby after my late wife. So this has been tearing my family apart for weeks, and I honestly don't know if I'm losing my mind or if everyone else has. I, 34M, lost my wife, Sarah, 3 years ago. We were together for 10 years, married for 5, and she passed away from complications after a car accident. It was sudden and traumatic. I don't think I've ever fully recovered, but I've been doing my best to move forward. Therapy, work, friends, the whole thing. Sarah was genuinely the kindest, funniest person I ever knew, and even after 3 years, I still talk about her often. My younger sister, Amy, 29F, was very close to Sarah. They became friends through me, and honestly, I was grateful for that. Sarah used to help Amy with college applications, job interviews, even dating advice. Amy would sometimes joke that Sarah was the big sister she never had. So when Sarah died, Amy was devastated too. I never held that against her. Fast forward to now, Amy and her husband are expecting their first child. A few weeks ago, we were all at my parents' house for dinner, and Amy announced the pregnancy. Everyone was thrilled. She then dropped another piece of news. If it's a girl, she wants to name the baby Sarah. I froze. Everyone else started congratulating her, saying how sweet and meaningful that was. But I just sat there because my chest felt like it was being crushed. Eventually, I told her as calmly as I could that I didn't think that was a good idea. The room went quiet. Amy looked genuinely confused and asked why. I told her that I appreciated the sentiment, but Sarah's name isn't just a name to me. It's my late wife's memory. Hearing that name every time she called her daughter would be like reopening a wound I've been trying to heal for years. I said it would be too painful for me to constantly be reminded of what I lost, especially at every family gathering or birthday. Amy looked hurt and said she thought I'd be touched, not angry. My mom told me I should be flattered, that it was a beautiful tribute. My dad stayed quiet but gave me a look that basically said, just let it go. I told Amy that if she really wanted to honor Sarah, she could use Sarah's middle name, Grace, or something inspired by her, like choosing a name that meant light or joy, since that's what Sarah brought into people's lives. But Amy shook her head and said no. She wanted to name the baby Sarah specifically. I said flat out, "Then I won't be able to be around much if you do." The air went cold. Amy started crying, saying I was holding her baby's name hostage. She accused me of making everything about myself and said Sarah loved her too, that she had just as much right to remember her in her own way. My mom jumped in, saying that I was being selfish and controlling and that Amy's intentions were pure. My dad told me I was being dramatic and that eventually I'd get used to it. I said I wasn't asking for much, just that they don't take the name that's tied to the person I loved most in the world and turn it into a casual family nickname for a baby who never even met her. The argument went on for almost an hour until I just left. Amy called me the next day, sobbing, saying I'd ruined what should have been a happy moment. I told her I wasn't trying to ruin anything, but that I had to protect my peace. She hung up on me. Since then, my mom has been texting me nonstop, saying I owe Amy an apology. She said I'm making everything harder for a pregnant woman and that Sarah wouldn't want this kind of bitterness. That comment cut deep. My dad called once, trying to mediate, but mostly just repeated that Amy has the right to choose her child's name and that I need to stop living in the past. Even my best friend, who knew Sarah well, said he can see both sides, that Amy probably didn't mean harm and that maybe I could learn to separate my grief from the name. But I can't. Every time I picture it, I feel sick. I imagine family dinners where people are saying little Sarah this and baby Sarah that, and all I can think of is my wife's voice, her laugh, the smell of her shampoo, and the fact that she's gone. To make it worse, Amy posted a gender reveal photo on Facebook yesterday. It's a girl, and in the caption, she wrote, "Can't wait to meet you, Sarah." No one told me first. I found out through Facebook like a random acquaintance. I haven't talked to her since, and now my whole family is blowing up my phone. My mom said if I skip the baby shower, I'll be disowning Amy and punishing a baby who didn't do anything. I don't hate Amy's kid. I don't even hate Amy, but I feel betrayed. Like she took something deeply personal from me and decided her emotional symbolism mattered more than my actual grief. My therapist says I'm not wrong to set boundaries, but she also said that I might need to prepare for the fact that my family won't understand, that they see this as a sweet gesture, not as a wound reopened. She suggested writing a letter to Amy explaining my feelings instead of yelling. But honestly, I don't think Amy wants to hear it. She's already framed me as the villain who hates her baby's name. So now I'm just sitting here, wondering if I really am the selfish one. Maybe I should have just smiled and said thank you. Maybe I should have let the name mean something different to me, a new chapter instead of a ghost of the past. But every part of me screams that it's wrong. My sister keeps saying Sarah loved family. She'd be honored. But the truth is, Sarah never got to be a mother. She never got to see her own child grow up. And the idea of someone else's baby carrying her name, someone else calling Sarah, "Come here," just feels like stealing something sacred. So, Reddit, AITA for asking my sister not to name her daughter after my late wife and refusing to be around if she does.